Hello Internet, it's Saturday, June 7th, 2008. Let's go. Boing Boing has an article on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the First Sale Doctrine, or at least the 100th anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court decision on First Sale Doctrine, which basically means if you buy a book from Barnes & Noble, Barnes & Noble can't tell you what to do with it anymore, and you're allowed to resell it. It's an interesting article and an interesting concept for the digital age where we buy things that actually don't exist, and a lot of people wonder if we're allowed to resell those or how we give them to somebody else. ASUS has a new photo frame coming out, and both Gizmodo and Engadget and the usual sources have reported on it. This little 7-inch photo frame with an 800 by 480 resolution has the neat trick of also being able to be used as a second display monitor. So you'd have a little bitty screen that you could put off to the side to hold your instant messaging windows and little status displays and maybe a widget or two. I think that'd be pretty cool, and that would make me want to buy their photo frame if it wasn't that expensive. TechCrunch has a very interesting little article entitled "The Future of Social Isn't Content Spewing, I Hope." And it basically talks about all the video blogging, the blogging, the Twittering, the Facebook, all that stuff, and how is it that we're going to eventually unite that and sort through it and make it all useful for people. Gizmodo has an article on the Gigabyte M912, which is a EPC-sized convertible touchscreen laptop. Looks very cool, especially if it be actually EPC priced. Some pictures out this week of the ASUS desktop, the little e-box, and it is little. For the first time there's a picture with it right next to a paperback book, and makes it look a lot more interesting. It's $269. It's got USB ports, 512 megabytes of RAM, I don't know, all kinds of good stuff, but it's $269 with Linux, and it also has DVI out, so it'll make a nice little media server, really. It's an article on TechCrunch that Time Warner in a couple markets in Texas is switching from all-you-can-eat internet to metered bandwidth internet. Basically, if you want to download a lot, they're going to make you pay for every bit of it. It's kind of amusing to see these companies trying to put the genie back into the bottle. It doesn't seem likely, but it doesn't seem like they want to stop trying to figure out a way to do it. Gizmodo also has an article links to a $70 touchscreen hack for an EPC. $70 is not a lot to turn an EPC into a touchscreen, and that would be really awesome if I wasn't so skittish about taking mine apart and possibly breaking it, no matter how simple it probably is. There's a ton of reviews out on the internet about the Flip Mino, the itty-bitty little flip camcorder this week. $180, which really isn't too bad for something that's small and usable. I really like my older one that I have, and I don't necessarily know that I'll upgrade for $180 because I don't use it that much. And the camera phone one generally comes into play pretty often. But they are very slick, and if they showed up for under $100, I'd probably still upgrade and grab one. This past week there was an article on TechCrunch that talked about Pandora, which is now available on Adobe Air application. Pandora is a internet radio service. It's really, really cool. And the Adobe Air application version of it basically almost looks identical to the website. So it's not a whole lot different there unless you just want to run it inside its own self so that if your browser crashes or whatever, it doesn't take your tunes with you. So that's kind of cool. Still worth giving it an install just to have a little icon that launches Pandora. Okay, also on eHub, I just discovered this site called Goosh.org, Goosh.org. It is a command line interface for Google. You can use just text command line, incredibly simple, just text only, and search for websites, images, search inside certain sites, blogs, search for YouTube videos. It's really cool. You just get one growing scroll after another unless you hit C and then it clears the screen. So go to goosh.org and type an H, hit return, and look at all the commands and tinker around with it. It's a very geeky, very cool thing. One of my new favorite webcomics is Life in a Cube, or My Life in a Cube. And this guy draws this little guy who works in an office cubicle, and he draws on scraps of paper, envelopes, post-it notes. You have it. That's part of the charm. And a strip last week has him sitting in the cubicle, and it's a shot from the back, and you just see the little thought balloon over his head, and it says, "Change my password again? What is this, NASA?" They're all kind of like that, just cute little observational humor things, but the pictures really sell it. TechCrunch has an article on Location Technology Primer, and it talks about all kinds of different location technologies that go in mobile devices so that the devices know where you are. It's pretty geeky, pretty techy, and it's not the most interesting aspect, which will be all the interesting social networking kind of programs that you're going to have in place once this stuff really starts to roll out into PDAs and phones. It's an area I'm interested in anyway. On the MakeUseOf.com site, I discovered MyPictr, MyPictr, and is a really neat Flash-based website that you can upload a JPEG to and make little thumbnails or little avatar icons for forums, or to upload to your Facebook or wherever you want to put a little picture. You can size it, crop it, and do all that fun stuff. Really neat site, mypictr.com. ThinkGeek has an external USB SATA drive dock for $49.99. Basically, you got a little white box that you can pop a full-size desktop hard drive into, and then pop it right back out again, and you can use full-size desktop hard drives as little USB sticks, basically. Looks like a really cool way to do it, and generally the desktop hard drives are cheaper than buying an external unit by a little bit, so if you need a lot of storage space, this might be the way to go. TechCrunch has an article that Qik is expanding to the Windows mobile platform. Qik is a really exciting technology. Basically, it is streaming YouTube video from your cell phone. So you got your cell phone, you're out and about, you use their little embedded program on your cell phone, and it streams the video from your cell phone's camcorder all the way onto the internet and onto the desktops of your millions of friends everywhere, so they can watch everything and listen to everything you're doing while you're doing it live. Pretty exciting little piece of technology. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to wait all the way to January to get a Windows mobile phone, knowing that that's out there, but I'm going to try. Oh, January is when my cell phone contract comes up, so that's when I'm thinking of getting a new one. Anyway. Asus also has a E-monitor for $500. That's a 19-inch LCD monitor with a built-in ePC. Gizmodo and Gadget, a bunch of people had pictures and reviews of Polaroid's Pogo wireless mobile printer. This uses the zinc paper, which uses heat to generate an image. It's kind of like, think of it as a 21st century Polaroid, but you got a itty-bitty little device, prints out little pictures on sticker paper. And seeing as how I'm nearing the 10-minute YouTube limit, that's all for right now.